In recent developments, Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced the establishment of a so-called security buffer zone along the country's border with Ukraine. This move, according to Putin, is designed to protect Russian territory from long-range weapon attacks, which have become increasingly frequent with the support and supply of Western military equipment to Ukraine. The security environment along the Russia-Ukraine border has grown more volatile over the past year. With the continued influx of advanced weapon systems from the West, Ukraine has been able to expand its operational reach, striking deeper into Russian-held territories and even hitting targets previously considered out of range. These attacks have not only targeted military installations, but have, on occasion, affected civilian areas, raising the stakes for both sides. Putin's declaration marks a significant escalation in Russia's approach. By setting up this buffer zone, the Russian government aims to create a physical and strategic barrier between its core territories and potential launching points for Ukrainian attacks. The zone is intended to be extensive enough to make it considerably harder for Ukrainian forces to conduct long-range strikes against key Russian assets. This development has been met with a range of responses across the international community. Western nations, particularly those in NATO, have criticized what they see as a further attempt by Moscow to legitimize its military presence in areas outside internationally recognized Russian borders. Meanwhile, Russian officials argue that such measures are necessary for national security, especially given the recent pattern of cross-border attacks. For the people living near the border, the announcement ushers in a period of uncertainty. The creation of a buffer zone often involves significant military activity, infrastructure changes, and, in some cases, the displacement of local populations to establish clear areas under direct military control. Residents on both sides of the border are bracing for heightened security measures, which can disrupt everyday life, commerce, and cross-border relationships. The move has also renewed debates within Russia about the long-term objectives in Ukraine. Some see the buffer zone as a temporary measure, while others interpret it as a sign that Russia anticipates a protracted conflict, with security threats persisting for the foreseeable future. International analysts are closely watching how Ukraine will respond. Ukrainian officials have not indicated any immediate changes to their military strategy, but have reiterated that their operations are aimed at defending Ukrainian sovereignty and undermining the Russian military presence in occupied territories. The establishment of a buffer zone could complicate ongoing diplomatic efforts, as it reshapes the realities on the ground and potentially moves the lines of conflict. Meanwhile, global markets are reacting to increased tensions. Energy prices, already sensitive to fluctuations caused by the conflict, have shown renewed volatility. Any perceived escalation around major supply routes or key infrastructure can trigger spikes, as traders anticipate disruptions or new sanctions. Humanitarian organizations are also voicing concern, warning that increased militarization along the border could exacerbate the already dire conditions for civilians in the region. With supply lines strained and the risks of displacement looming, international agencies are calling for renewed efforts to protect non-combatants and uphold basic rights. In summary, President Putin's announcement about the new security buffer zone adds another layer to an already complex and dynamic conflict. It signals a willingness to escalate militarily in response to Western-supplied weapons and underscores the ongoing risks of broader confrontations. As both sides consider their next steps, the eyes of the world remain focused on the region, watching for signs of either de-escalation or further escalation in one of the most closely watched conflicts of our time. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, a total of 485 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones, were reportedly shot down within a span of just 48 hours. The bulk of these interceptions occurred over border regions such as Belgorod, Kursk, and Bryansk, areas that have become increasingly vulnerable due to their proximity to ongoing hostilities. This heightened drone activity underscores the rapidly evolving nature of the conflict and the growing role of technology in modern warfare. Amid a backdrop of historic rivalry, the simultaneous expulsion of diplomats by India and Pakistan signals a sharp uptick in mistrust and diplomatic friction. Both nations have alleged increased surveillance and interference by the other, fueling an atmosphere of suspicion and tit-for-tat actions. These moves threaten already fragile diplomatic channels, complicating cooperation on critical issues such as cross-border security and regional stability. Observers worry that further escalation could hinder efforts toward dialogue and sustainable peace in South Asia. The recent destruction of a Ukrainian HIMARS missile system near Chasiv Yar underscores the increasing role of advanced drone warfare in the conflict. Russia's elite UAV unit, Rubicon, leveraged cutting-edge tactics to execute the strike, demonstrating both precision and adaptability close to active front lines. This event highlights the evolving technological arms race as both sides deploy increasingly sophisticated unmanned systems. The loss of critical hardware so near the front lines further intensifies pressure on Ukrainian forces and amplifies the conflict's uncertainty. In recent days, Russian forces have intensified their offensives, targeting strategic locations like Zelenopilya and Novopil. The pressure from these attacks has compelled Ukrainian units to withdraw from several key villages, underscoring the relentless shifts along the front lines. As control over territory changes hands, the humanitarian toll mounts, with displaced residents facing uncertainty and hardship. Meanwhile, analysts warn that this latest surge may mark a pivotal phase in the ongoing struggle, with significant implications for the conflict's trajectory. Amid escalating hostilities, Ukrainian officials report that Russia recently launched a significant ground offensive in the Zaporizhzhia region, deploying approximately 320 troops, 3 tanks, and 40 armored vehicles. Intense clashes erupted near critical towns such as Pyatakhatki, Stepov, and Lobkov, underscoring the heightened scale of engagement on this front. The surge in fighting not only stresses Ukrainian defenses but also deepens humanitarian concerns, with local populations facing increased risks and uncertainty as the conflict intensifies. As Ukraine pursues its grand strategy, relentless cross-border strikes are designed to disrupt Russian military operations and signal Kiev's determination to resist aggression. By targeting ammunition depots, command centers, and supply lines deep inside Russian territory, Ukraine aims to stretch Moscow's resources and create uncertainty among Russian decision-makers. This approach not only increases military pressure, but also seeks to undermine confidence in Russia's internal security, leveraging offensive capability to influence both the battlefield and political climate surrounding the conflict. The call by Ukrainian MP Mariana Bezula for President Volodymyr Zelensky to dismiss Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrskyi has added a new layer of political tension within Ukraine. Following the tragic missile strike on Cherkasky, which resulted in the loss of numerous Ukrainian soldiers, the demand highlights deep concerns over military leadership and accountability. Amid ongoing conflict and mounting pressures on the armed forces, this development raises critical questions about command strategy and morale on the front lines. The assassination of Viktor Yanukovych in Madrid sent shockwaves through the international community, fueling speculation about the motives behind the attack. Authorities suspect his past political activities, particularly his tumultuous tenure as Ukraine's president and subsequent ousting, may have made him a target. The incident has reignited debates around the security of exiled political figures and the lingering dangers faced by controversial leaders, with officials now investigating the possible involvement of transnational networks and the broader implications for regional stability. In response to the escalating threat of missile and drone attacks, Ukraine's European allies are evaluating the possibility of deploying their air forces to safeguard Western Ukrainian airspace. By taking on a defensive role in the West, these allies aim to relieve pressure on Ukraine's own air units, enabling them to concentrate on the heavily contested Eastern Front. This strategic shift highlights the growing involvement of European nations and underscores the shared commitment to Ukraine's security and stability. As global events continue to unfold at a rapid pace, staying informed is more important than ever. By keeping up with reliable news sources, you can gain a deeper understanding of the complex issues shaping our world. We appreciate your commitment to staying updated with accurate and timely information. Join us next time as we bring you the latest developments and insightful analysis from around the globe. Until then, stay safe and stay informed.